Victor Hedman exits this weekend's preseason slate with an injury. How concerned should we be? And what have we learned from this weekend's preseason games? That's today on the Locked On Lightning podcast.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin by shouting out our everydayers, those of you who tune into every single show, every single day. We love you. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Hutch to my Starsky, Greg Steven. Greg, welcome in, friend.
Good morning. It's a new week, and we got some preseason hockey to review here.
We have some preseason hockey to review. The good news is the Lightning are undefeated. The bad news is the one thing you didn't want to see happen in a game, which is Victor Hedman getting hurt, happened. So we'll have an update on his condition, and we will talk about, are the Lightning screwed now?
Well, I did read that it was precautionary.
It sounds like he's going to be back. Yeah, it's just a ratings grab, Greg. Before we get into it, though, I do want to mention today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Okay, Greg, the weekend slate of preseason games. The Lightning took on the Carolina Hurricanes. It was the first home preseason game, which means it was the first time we got to see a lot of the top tier of the big guns for the Lightning. Victor Hedman was in there. JJ Moser was there, so we got to see the entire top line. We also had Cooch, we had Bjorkstrand, we had Jake Gensel, and we had Braden Point. And you kind of got everything you wanted to see out of that 6-5 win. The next night, taking on the Nashville Predators at home. Nashville Predators surprisingly opting to play a lot of their big guns, but it didn't matter. Lightning won that game 4-1 as well. But of course, big talk from the weekend. Victor Hedman exits the first preseason game against Carolina. We don't exactly know what happened. It was an undisclosed injury, but he only played 7 minutes in that game. Did not play the Saturday preseason game, although I don't think he would have anyway. Held out for that game with what was called precautionary measures. It said he could, in theory, be available for tomorrow's Tuesday game, in case you're listening to this on different days, the Tuesday preseason game in Orlando against Florida. But Greg, if you're John Cooper right now, I'm not putting this guy anywhere near preseason action for maybe at least until the last one.
I'm so with you. It's not worth it. What he ended last season with a broken foot, right? So
yeah.
Why risk any of this? I mean, he's getting older. We know he knows how to play hockey. There's no secret there. You know, I think he gets a little bit of ice time in the last game, like you said, just to get the legs back to moving, get the gears turning a little bit. And then I think he'll be fine, assuming he's not super injured. Based on what I've read, it doesn't seem like anything crazy, obviously serious right now. But again, we'll see. Maybe it is. We really don't know, until they tell us. But
there didn't seem to be like any sort of like obvious play,
right?
Either in which he got hurt. I think it might have just been like a little tweak of something. But yeah, you know what you're getting for Victor Hedman.
Right.
There's no need to do the one thing you don't want to do in preseason, which is throw this guy back on the ice and have him get hurt. So
yeah, exactly. And we saw it happen with Barkov. So, we just want to make sure everyone's good and healthy. And I'd rather him come in a little bit cold maybe than risk getting hurt further. So I'm with the decision. Let's leave him out for a little bit here.
Yeah, get him in the last game, and he's basically the bottom pair guy. He's the defenseman in that game. He's out there to skate and get minutes.
Yeah,
maybe
get used to the speed a little again.
Yeah, maybe see how the penalty or not penalty kill, but the power play
Right.
looks under him. But happier news is that the Lightning won both preseason games, now 4-0.
Yeah.
And they haven't really played a game in which they played everybody at once. And they, I would say, in both Predators games and maybe the first Carolina game, they played, I would say, kind of the other team's main players.
Yeah.
What do you?
We were talking about that.
So I know it's preseason, so I want to temper the expectations, but what do we make out of this, Greg?
You know what I'm going to say first, I think, but I'm going to do it anyway. We got to stop giving penalties.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care if it's preseason. Like, just in these two weekend games alone, 12 power plays for the other teams. Come on.
Yeah, it
flip
hasn't
it, though.
gotten any better, has it?
No, but let's flip it to the inverse. Against the Canes, they go 2 for 3 on their own power play. Love to see that, and one of those was Kuch, Gensel, Bjorkstrand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very encouraging, right? I mean, we were kind of talking the other day about Bjorkstrand being the Stamkos role, sort of, and maybe not to the level that Stamkos can do that, but if he can slot in and make plays and score goals off of a Kuch Gensel pass, let's do it. So that was, I love to see that 2 for 3 in that game. And then they were 2 for 7 in the next game. And look, that's not like wonderful by any means, but again, you get a Hagel goal from Gage and Darren Radish. Amazing. And then you get a Chafee goal from Cirelli and Hagel. So, you're seeing the main guys that you want to see on those special teams contribute. And that's positive for sure.
That was the big thing for me too, I think, is all the people you wanted to see step in and looked good. Obviously, yes. I think, Brandon Hagel comes in, looks really sharp against the Nashville Predators. That I felt like the top line before Hedman got hurt on defense, I felt like that top penalty or power play unit looked really solid. I think that they, even after that, everybody on the ice, the top line looked really strong. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Greg, have you heard of the name Wojciech Stachowiak? I think it is.
I have now.
Yeah. So
3-point night.
Yeah. 2 goals, 1 assist in that Carolina preseason game. And John Cooper made a point to call him out after the game and say, look, he's adjusting to hockey well. Don't rule out the fact that he's pushing for a roster spot. This guy's kind of wild, played at Michigan State, COVID hit, has played professionally in Germany the past couple years, but he's somebody that in camp that I've always been like, that's going to be a decent AHL player. He looks solid. Then he goes out on the ice and has a 3-point night. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, is this a hidden gem we're missing?
Could be. It could be. We'll see. I hope so. I hope John Cooper sticks with that and he gives him some time. We'll see how he does.
Yeah. I love it. Random stories like that. And hey, there's going to be some spots open.
How about we talk about that first game, though, where he had his 3 points? Zemgus Girgensons. Not just 2 quick ones in like the first half of the first period. I think just over the first half at like the 10:30 marker, but still 2 goals. And just to start it all off, we were talking about this. People are going to fight for this last line spot. Girgensons went out there and said, let me throw 2 to the twine real quick.
Yeah, I apologize for calling out Zemgus early in the preseason and say his spot could be up for grabs.
You motivated him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So another big headline from this past weekend happened to the other Florida team. Alexander Barkov possibly out for the year. Lightning, of course, play the Panthers tomorrow in Orlando. They're actually the last 3 preseason games of the year are all against the Florida Panthers. We're going to talk about whether Barkov's injury changes any of our preseason predictions that we've made for the Florida Panthers, and a $1 million question: if the Lightning don't beat the Panthers this year, are heads going to roll? Are people going to be on the hot seat? That is going to be on tomorrow's Locked On Lightning when we do our preseason look at that. Big stuff coming up, so make sure you stay tuned for that. More to come on today's show, though. We've been doing our preseason predictions for the Atlantic Division. We are previewing the Boston Bruins and Buffalo Sabres. Are either of these teams going to make a run? Are they going to surprise people, or are they going to finish in the bottom like a lot of experts are predicting? I think there might be a case for one of them to be a surprise team this year. We're going to talk about it on today's Locked On Lightning next. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, so if you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is link your financial accounts, and in minutes, you'll see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. We're back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, we are continuing our Atlantic Division previews, taking a sneak peek at all of the Lightning's frenemies this year. And we've made it to a team that it seems like for the past 20 years or so has perpetually been at the top of the preseason predictions list. The Boston Bruins now find themselves in a completely different state. They're in, I guess you would sort of call it rebuilding mode a little bit. A lot of their core pieces were traded at the deadline. Of course, you don't have Brad Marchand there anymore. It seems like the Boston Bruins are in a state of transition. A lot of people are projecting them to be one of the two bottom teams in the division this year, Greg, but it's the Boston Bruins. Are we underestimating them a little bit?
Nah. Here's why.
All right, well, that's our show, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
No, here's why. I think they added some interesting pieces, in my opinion. For example, Lightning legend Michael Eyssimont. We all love Mikey over here.
Mm-hmm. And Lightning legend Tanner Jeannot.
Right.
Worth those 3 high draft picks, let me tell you.
That being said, you look at their forward group. How many of them are you putting in the A or S tier category? I'm saying it's Pasta, maybe Morgan Geeky. Can you give me a third? Because I can't. And their defensive pool, you got McAvoy, but he had a nasty injury, I believe, in 4 Nations, right? And I don't think he even returned. He didn't return from that, if I'm not mistaken. So that's definitely concerning for them because he's like one of their main guys, right? And then you got like Lindholm, who has shown flashes of being excellent, and then has other periods where he's a little bit not. Mm-hmm. And then you got like Zadorov, who's got some good grit, but he's just positionally not very good. And beyond that, again, it's like it kind of just falls off from there for me. And then you got Swayman, who you had bad negotiations with last season.
Yeah.
And he really didn't perform, I think, the way that you expected him to last season either. So,
no.
Look, I think if I'm like the Canadians, if I'm the Senators, if I'm any of those mid teams, like I'm looking at this like, wow, look, we got a shot. Like I would say any of their rosters are better than the Bruins right now. So again, on paper, I would say, yeah, they're bottom 2 for sure.
It's interesting to me. They had a very bad year last year. Everything that went wrong could go wrong. And it started with Jeremy Swayman. I mean, this was a guy that was Vezina quality the year before. Probably the year before that would have been in contention had he played more than 37 games, but obviously Linus Ullmark on the team does it for you. But, he had those big negotiations and then was, as you mentioned, Greg, like a sub 900 goalie, like 892 save percentage, kind of in his first season as the main guy too, which is not a good sign. I will say the one thing going for the Bruins is that I think the roster potential is there, and you have some names on there that have stepped up big in the past, and you're trying to figure out, okay, are they now past their prime or were they just having an off year? Elias Lindholm is one guy that comes to mind. I mean, the Bruins were excited when they got him. Of course, former like 80, 90-ish point scorer in Calgary, comes over, hasn't had the impact that he's needed yet, but he's going to have a bigger role this year. Pavel Zacha is another guy, really good player all those years for New Jersey, comes over, has an okay year. But his last 3 years with the Bruins have been solid, but I don't think exactly what they're expecting out of him. It starts, the two players it starts with, besides the goaltending, are Pastrnak and McAvoy.
Yes.
Obviously Pasta, to me, top 10 player in the NHL. I think strong case you can make for top 5, just an explosive winger. But, all those years playing with Bergeron, he had somebody reliable to kind of help set him up, and he had good chemistry. I mean, he was basically on the same line for his entire Bruins career. It was him, Marchand, and Bergeron. And I think he's really trying to figure out that chemistry. I mean, but, all said and done, he still had 106 points last year. And the other to me is McAvoy. And this is a guy, Greg, that I think is one of, let's say one of the 8 best defensemen in the NHL right now. And I think he's kind of fallen under the radar a bit because his point totals haven't been there. He's also battled a lot of injury issues the past couple of years, but just based on quality, McAvoy is a really good player when he's 100%. Problem is he just hasn't been at 100%. And, last year, even before the injury, worst statistical season of his career. If he can bounce back, if he's had some extra rest this year, that I think is the key, because now all of a sudden you have a really good, source of energy, really good source of offensive, quarterback skills, to be able to move that puck up from the back end up and start the play. All of a sudden you have 2 key pieces right there that I think are an eraser to a lot of other problems. And I think that's when you see players like Lindholm, like Zacha, like Geeky, as you mentioned, start to kind of maybe feel themselves a little bit more and are able to, get things going. But it's going to start with those 2, and it's going to start with goaltending in the back end. To me, I'm not predicting that they are, but if those things go right, and if the goaltending is better this year, the Bruins, I think, can be a surprise playoff team. I'm not predicting them to win the division or anything, but if Pasta's still Pasta, if McAvoy, rebounds from a bad year, and then Swayman or Korpisalo, because he's there too, if either of them rebound and kind of give that at least slightly above average level of goaltending, I think it's a different outlook for the Bruins this year. And I think maybe we are overlooking them to a certain extent.
Okay, valid. I think they're toast.
Yeah. All right, well,
I gotta have a bold take.
We'll make a bet. We'll see after the year. I mean, I want to preface this by saying I don't disagree with anything you said.
Yeah, I got
you. Every point you made, I could look at and be like, yes, Greg is right. The Bruins are toast. I just think there's 2 ways to look at it, and I'm kind of looking at the other way. I think I look at the lineup and I see the potential. I see the potential if things go right. And I think the Bruins still, with that roster they have, with the level of player you have in David Pastrnak, the potential is there to be a really good team this year. Maybe not a really good team, but a playoff team.
I don't disagree with you. I think for me, it's mostly that they kind of have the same issue as the Lightning, right? Where they have a pretty clear couple of defensemen like Lindholm, McAvoy, Zadorov, and then it's like, who are the last three? Because it's kind of anybody's job, it looks like, over there. So we'll see if guys can slot in, like you said, and they get motivated by guys like McAvoy playing well and Pasta. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's very possible. But we'll see.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting question. So we have been doing the one player from each team that you would love to see on the Lightning's roster next year. Greg, their best player is a right winger, just like our best player is a right winger. So is Pastrnak disqualified for this, or are you saying screw it and putting him on the team, or are you going to give us a little bit of a deep cut here?
I'm taking Mikey Asimont back, baby, every single time. Let's go. Every time.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
You what?
My favorite 3-season player, I think it was.
Are you taking Pasta?
Yeah.
I
mean, it's like it's.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, it's adding one of the 8 best players in the NHL. I mean, you could have him on one line, Cooch on the other line. It's also like I don't look at the Bruins roster and be like, okay, that's somebody I absolutely want to build a team around this year.
Valid. I won't lie to you. I almost said Tanner Jeannot. Almost.
Depends on what I'm getting. You know what? That's the kind of
but
player that he would give up a first, second, and third round pick for. Let me tell you.
I'm not doing that again. But if I could just take him real quick, maybe I just toss him out there to beat some people up.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody cash in on 125 goal season as hard as Tanner Jeannot has.
So true.
His entire career. Yeah, interesting season for the Boston Bruins. It'll be interesting to see David Pastrnak on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that is a fictional scenario that I now would give anything to see. We have reached our last team of the division previews, and it is our friends in Buffalo. Oh boy, we're talking about the Buffalo Sabres. Question is, they might be bad this year, but just how bad are they going to be this year? We're going to talk about that when our Atlantic Division preview continues next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season has officially kicked off, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. All you have to do is pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, I've tried player props, and I've even followed the live lines during games. The in-game bets are some of my favorite things to do. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or just love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app and get started. Again, FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today. All right, Greg, we are on the last team of our preseason preview, and we have saved the best for last. And by best, I mean the team I think we both agree is going to finish in the bottom of the standings, the Buffalo Sabres. Greg, I want so bad for the Sabres to be good.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
I think they have a shot. I think they have a shot. And here's why. Josh Doan, son of legend Shane Doan, when he was on, we'll call him the Mammoth, or I guess Coyotes, whatever, he looked great. They picked him up.
They did, yeah.
They got Malenstein from the Caps, and he actually started to look pretty good for them. They still have Tage Thompson, and if anyone tries to tell me that Tage Thompson isn't a top 10 guy, like, just get out of here.
Okay, I'll leave.
You don't think he's a top 10 guy?
Top 10 player in the NHL?
Tage Thompson.
No, he's not even close to a top 10 player in the NHL.
I disagree. I just think his team's bad. But defense,
that's a
defense. They got Bowen Byram. They got Dahlin. They got Power, who's aging and coming into his own. He's been looking pretty good. Kesselring isn't even that bad. Their defense is better than Bruins than the top 4 already. I mean, outside of like McAvoy, like, you know,
I don't disagree with that.
I would take anyone on in their top 4D over anyone on the Bruins every single time. I think UPL, for anyone who doesn't know, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, their goaltender, he looks great too to me in a lot of games. So I think I have high hopes for him. And they added Georgiev, who we all know he looked great when he was first playing with the Rangers, and then he went to the Avs and he went, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have talent. So I think in the right moment and the right team, he could shine again. Because look, he did it with the Rangers, and that's like one of the biggest markets in hockey. So
did it that first year in Colorado too. Had a really good first year before.
Yeah, you're right. He did, and then he kind of tailed off, and then they sent him to the Sharks to die, right? And
yeah,
so it's not like this is a better situation than the Sharks, but he still has a chance, right? I'm not rolling him out. I think they need some better forwards, obviously, but with Tage, they got Josh Norris over there now too, like with that trade they had with the Sens. And I think that's going to help them out because that's a little bit of a veteran play there. They got Tuck over there and Zucker. Even Jordan Greenway, he's been around a bit, right? So
yeah. Is he their captain now? Who's it? No, it's Dahlin, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah. I love their defensive pool. I really do. I think it's so good. Like, I know that a lot of them are still pretty young, I think, is the oversight with a lot of the analytics. But still, like, I just, if I'm them, I'm saying, look, the Bruins are done. And then I'm saying, oh, wow, the Cats they lose 2 of their best players. Not like they're going to beat the Cats in the end, but I mean, look, we don't know how the Cats are going to do without both Tkachuk and Barkov. It's a huge, huge loss. Like, how good would the Lightning be without Cooch and Point, right? Like,
right. Are you predicting the Buffalo Sabres to finish ahead of the Florida Panthers this year?
I think it's possible. I do.
Do
I think it's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. Let me just clarify. I don't think it will happen. I think it is possible though. I think it really depends on how the Cats adjust, right? And they have the caliber of, like, you know, we've done this before and all that, whatever.
No.
Bruins have the youth and the health. So we'll see.
I
vehemently disagree.
You're getting into crazy territory for me. I'm going to say this. I love the collection of youth that the Sabres have. I love one player I don't think we mentioned is Zach Benson. That is a feisty child. And that's somebody that in his short NHL stint has played at a level that I think there's a lot more of the tank. He's, I think, an exciting player. I think he's going to be a really good sort of middle 6 guy. And he's doing this, you know, he entered the NHL at 18 years old and has made an impact both years for the Sabres. So I think that's good there. I agree. I love Josh Doan. You know, I do think Tage Thompson he's not a top 10 player, but I think he is a really solid NHL player, somebody that you would love to have at the top of the lineup. Alex Took is there. And I do think that the Sabres on paper have 2 of the best young defensemen in the game with Dahlin and Owen Power. Do you know why I don't think the Buffalo Sabres are going to do anything this year? Because they're the Buffalo Sabres.
That's valid.
Here's the thing. And I say this as somebody who's a Lions fan. You don't get results until you change the culture.
True.
And right now, there's a culture of losing in Buffalo.
Yes.
I hate it that the fact that it's there because Sabres fans, when the team is hot, are wild. It's a great atmosphere if you've never seen a game up there. But you have to have that belief in there that you're going to win, that things are going to go right. And right now, it's kind of been status quo. I mean, the same front office is there, the same. Yeah. I believe they're bringing back the same coaching staff from last year.
I believe so.
The ownership, I mean, they had the whole like palm tree, silent protests last year that, got in fight with ownership with. And it's just been long history after long history of top prospects either, developing and hating it or just all these big swings just not working out. Peyton Krebs looks like the latest one because he really hasn't done anything since he's been at the NHL. But I mean, even before that, go back and look at the likes of Casey Middlestat, who's on the Bruins now. And, look at, Jack Eichel, getting pissed at the team and leaving. You look at Cody Hodgson, dating all the way back to then, like all these high-end talent that it's like, we're building a team around this guy and, it doesn't quite work out. That to me, it's, and I said this in Nashville too, when some of that happened, when it happens once or twice, that's just the hazards of the NHL. What happens every time, that's something deeper about your team. And I think right now there's something deeper about the Buffalo Sabres that I don't really think they've addressed yet. To use that Detroit example, where's the Dan Campbell? Where's the person that's going to come in and put the belief back in this team? Who in the front office is going to be the Brad Holmes and come in and say, we're changing everything about the way we evaluate talent. We're changing the way we scout players. We're changing the type of people we're adding to this team. Where's that guy? I don't think the Sabres have that right now. And yeah, I look and there's a lot of really, there's potential in this lineup, but name one thing about the Sabres in the past 10 years. Let's go past 15 years. Name one thing, one reason to believe that they're going to reach their potential.
Yeah.
I don't have one because over the past 15 years, they've been in this exact same spot, a team loaded with potential that winds up tanking. And to me, that's just the Sabres story. I don't think it's going to get anything better until there are major changes from the top down and you get these young players to start believing again. Okay, so with all that in mind, Greg, who is a player on the Sabres roster that you would love to have in the Lightning this year?
I think I'm going to have to go with Owen Power. Like the rising defenseman, he looks great. He's still very young and very talented from what we've seen so far. And we know the Lightning need a defenseman, so that's the guy I'm stealing if I can do it.
Interesting, because I was also going to go defenseman. I'm going to go Rasmus Dahlin. Nice. I think he's just one of the best defensemen in the NHL right now. I think he's very wise beyond his years. He looks like a guy that's been doing it for 15 years at the age of, I want to say he's only like 24 entering this year. But just a steady presence on the blue line. Again, we're talking about who's going to sort of take the reins after Hedman. Rasmus Dahlin is very much, I think, one of like the future Victor Hedmans of the NHL, that next really strong defenseman.
Agreed. And he's got that leadership quality, like you mentioned too. So that's huge for his quality, I guess.
Yeah. So both going defensemen here. Interesting. So we are going to wrap up our division preview later this week. We've said all of our teams. We've done our picks. We've done the previews, I guess you would say. Now it's time to put our money where the mouth is and make some predictions. Who's going to win the division? Who are going to be the playoff teams? And who are the players to watch, either in a good or bad way this year? We're going to be doing that at the end of the week when we do our official division predictions. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back with an all-new episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.